What's going on, everybody? There it is. The iconic, the one, the only Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Now, I've owned a lot of Spyderco Paramilitary 2s in my life, and I've just never wound up keeping them. Don't know why. I think they are one of the best fidget knives ever made. The fidget factor number on this is going to be amazing on Friday. Stay tuned for that. But I've always got rid of them. And this one's a little bit special. I mean, anybody can buy it. It's not crazy special, but it is the S110V version, the CPM S110V. So that makes it a little different than all the other ones that I have ever owned. So maybe I will wind up keeping this one. I don't know. I have a lot of pocket time with this already, not with this particular knife, but with an S30V version. So I could probably actually review this knife right now. But I don't have a lot of time with this blade still, so we're actually going to carry this knife this week, and then Friday I will give you my final thoughts and rankings. But right now we're going to go over the overall specs of this knife, and I'm just going to give you my first impressions. And first impressions is I've owned like 6 of them, so take that with a grain of salt because I have a lot of impressions with this knife. I carried one of these for probably a year straight back in the day. But the overall length, let me scoot it over so it's kind of even in the camera, is 8.28 inches. The blade length is a 3.44 with a cutting edge of 3 inches. Now you do have this nice choil right here. I do like the way they do this choil. It does fit pretty good in the hand. They have nice jimping here, nice jimping on the bottom of the choil. It's just really nice. I want to say they do not give you a sharpening choil right here. It's just blade basically comes all the way back, which is fine with me because you get the full cutting edge that way. It is a little more likely that you'll scratch something trying to sharpen it, but I do like that you get the full cutting edge instead of having a little place right here. I just prefer that. Next is blade width. Now, I measured from here to here. They didn't put the blade width on Blade HQ's website, so it was a 1.133. It will be higher here, but I always go right in front of the spotty hole is how I measure mine if they don't put it on the website. The blade thickness is 0.14. Very nice slicer right here. These have always been great slicers. I'm sure this will be an amazing slicer as well. The blade steel is CPM S110V, but like I said before, normally they come with S30V if you just buy the normal Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And to tell you the truth about it, the S30V is perfectly fine. I like S30V, I like S35. I never had a problem with it. I just wanted something a little different that I've never had for testing, and that's why I went with the 110. It does have a clip point blade with a flat grind, and you can see there's literally no flats on this blade. That's one thing I don't greatly like about this is I use the wicked edge, and it is nice that they put just a little bit of flat where I can grab that with the clamps, if you know what a wicked edge sharpening system is. Not a big deal. I have sharpened these numerous times, but it does make it a little easier if you get a little bit of a flat up there. But it does make for a better slicer if you don't. So I get it. The handle length is 4.81 inches. So you can see here I can get a full grip and have plenty sticking out the back of the handle. Perfectly fine. I got pretty good size hands, and you can definitely get a full grip on this knife. The handle thickness is almost a half an inch at 0.46. I do got to say, these edges, I've always thought these edges were a little bit sharp. They're not quite a 90, but they are a little bit sharp. If you do like some really hard digging in, there is some hot spots right here. I know that for a fact because I've used these forever. And if they rounded this G10 off just a little more, I would probably like it better. I've been meaning to buy some micarta scales for this, but they're like $90, and I just can't bring myself to spend almost as much money as what I could buy a whole nother knife for. Not the 110 version, but the regular version. Just, $30, $40 more, I can have a whole nother knife. And for $90, I can buy some pretty nice knives for $90. So it's hard for me to spend $90 on new scales just for the scales alone. And then I would probably want to replace the hardware too if I did that. So I would probably wind up having $150, $160 in hardware and a scale just because I don't like the edges on this. And I may still do that. I don't know, but it's something I'm thinking about. It does have a compression lock. I love the compression lock. I think the compression lock is crazy strong. And I love how you can just flip it shut with one hand. Telling you, this is actually one of my favorite fidget knives. Even just standing around not doing that, I just fidget with this thing because it's so easy to flip it back and forth, flip it open. It's just awesome. And the weight of this knife is under 4 ounces at 3.75. So it does fit that under 4 ounce category that a lot of people like their knives to be in. It is made in the USA. Let me see if I can see that. Right here it says Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. So I'm not sure what other USA that Spyderco makes their knives at, but this one is made here on planet Earth. So good for them. Maybe they know something we don't about extraterrestrial life form. And the best use of this knife, I'm going to say, is EDC/tactical. This could be a tactical knife. I think the actual military version of this would be a better tactical knife because it does have a longer blade. But this could be, it does have a nice choil right here for your finger not to slide up on the blade. It does have some good jimping right here to lock your thumb in. And it does have a very, very fine tip. I mean, these things are very easy to break the tips off of. I know several people that have broken the tips off these and either fixed them themselves or had to send them back to Spyderco. But this could very well be a tactical folder. Now, what I want to do now is show you some, size comparisons with some other knives. So what I have is I have the Benchmade bug out. Put that right there, line them up. You can see the difference in the size of the Benchmade bug out. I also have a Civivi Elementum. This is the S35 version. You can see it's quite a bit smaller. Both these knives are actually quite a bit smaller. Now I can also throw in like my favorite EDC knife right now, the Giant Mouse. You can see it's almost identical to the same size as the Civivi Elementum. And last but not least, you gotta hear this before I put it in there. Cold Steel 4MAX. That's even out of camera. We have to actually slide it over this way. You can just see how much bigger the 4MAX is. I think I'm going to actually review the 4MAX next week. I love this knife. I love it. But there's you some size comparisons to kind of show you how big this is if you've never owned one before. But this is a pretty iconic knife. Everyone knows what a Paramilitary 2 is just about. There's probably a few people that's never seen one of these and probably never handled one of these. But like I said, this is the S110 version, so I thought I'd give that blade steel a try. Now the price of the S110 version right here, the Blurple as they call it, I hate that color too, but that's the only color you can get in the S110s, is $185.50. So it's quite a bit more than the S1 or S30 version, S30V, at $151.20, and those are Blade HQ prices right there, because that's where I ordered this knife from. So I'll be carrying this for the next week, and then on Friday I will tell you my final thoughts, where it ranks, and of course this is going to be probably pretty high ranking because it does everything pretty great as long as the steel holds up, and this is supposed to hold an edge like nobody's business. So I fully figure that this knife is going to possibly beat the Benchmade. What to see, I don't know, but right now the Benchmade is king for EDC and carry purposes. But since this is probably a tactical folder too, it might edge this one out just by a hair. So I'll see y'all Friday and tell you what my final thoughts are. I appreciate y'all watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.